So, of course, tonight is the official launch of the hashtag Change for Her campaign, a campaign that seeks to have the coat of arms be fully representative of the genders in this country. You know that there are 2 males currently within the emblem, embedded within that emblem, and the call tonight is for one of those men to be a woman, as the coat of arms is supposed to signify diversity in this country. It's supposed to be a symbol that unites all of us, and it's a symbol of the authority of the state. And the request then that is coming from women that have joined and men that have been part of this campaign is for the president to help change the coat of arms to be fully representative. And it's a campaign that we're inviting you to be part of. We'll continue more on this conversation. We'll find out exactly what are the legal frameworks, what's required in order for this to happen. Do stay tuned. Just after 6:30, look at your headlines tonight. Newzroom Afrika launches a campaign to have the current coat of arms amended for more representativity. We'll bring you more on this campaign in a moment. Government sets aside 40% of public procurement to empower female-owned businesses. And former President Jacob Zuma apologizes to Derek Hanekom for calling him a known enemy agent. And in your sport, Deputy Minister Notawe Mafu will be joining Mark Lewis on the show tonight to talk about how she's fighting for women's rights in a male-dominated space. Well, tonight, Newzroom Afrika, in partnership with Razor MNC Sachi Group, South Africa has launched a campaign to change the country's coat of arms. The process of changing the coat of arms is governed by the Heraldry Act that constitute a council made up of 6 members appointed by the Arts and Culture Minister. We're going to get you more details on this. We're joined by Thembinkosi Mabaso, who is the State Herald. Mr. Mabaso, good evening, and thank you so much for your time on News at Prime. Firstly, maybe just a roundup of the kind of work that you at the State Heraldry get up to.
Okay, our job is to register heraldic representation. Those include flags, coat of arms, and special names. We usually get an application from the applicants who would give us a brief, and then we execute, we work on the brief so that we can finalize that part of the document. That happens also with local government, provincial government, and so on. That's what we do.
Let's talk about the current coat of arms and perhaps the change that was made to it in 2002, which of course was to usher in and recognize a new dispensation in South Africa. What were some of the elements that informed the current coat of arms?
Well, the coat of arms is a very expressive design with a lot of symbolism in it. It was developed through a lot of consultation. And also there was a public call in order for the ordinary people of South Africa to participate in the design of that coat of arms. Therefore, once the designs were there were a number of them that were designed and they were also discussed. It was eliminated up to the final one. But in all the processes that were engaged, there was a lot of consultation at the cabinet level and also at the interest groups. The final work was accepted by all.
Has there ever been, not maybe a complaint as such, but an issue raised with the fact that it's two men that are embodied within the coat of arms?
Not at all. Remember, we have been more popularizing the national symbols, including the coat of arms, for over since 2000, in fact. We've done a lot of work such that the national symbols are also part of the school curriculum. What is very important is that once you look at the symbols, that people study the document so they understand the nuances and the symbolism that is involved in them. Therefore, since then we have not received any complaint about that. I think that is based on the fact that if you understand heraldry and symbolism, the symbols have got a lot of different meaning to different people. Therefore, what happens is that once the symbol has been gazetted and launched, we usually have the meanings that are attached to that part of symbolism. Because some people will read a symbol at a face value and not understanding it at the metaphorical value, which is a symbolism. Let me give you an example. A cross in a symbol, it may mean a Christian faith, but some people, a cross also on a road, the same cross and same design, will mean that there is a crossroad. That means the same symbol has got different meaning. Up until then, you give it that meaning on your document, then people will know that when you apply it here, that's what you mean. Let me give you a second example. The colors. Let's say color white. In a lot of flags, you see there is color white. And in each and every country, they'll tell you that this particular white, for us, it means peace. Some will say it means purity, and some in other sectors, they will see the same thing and it will mean something different, that people are cold, and so on and so on. That means once there is a symbol, usually we assign symbolism in it so that it does not be ambiguous to people when they are interacting with that symbol. In a similar manner, the coat of arms of South Africa was launched in 2000. It was at Fontaine. At that time, it was former President Thabo Mbeki who launched it, and there was a lot of speech that he made. He was also unpacking the coat of arms and unpacking what the elements are all symbolizing. When it comes to the symbol that you are contesting now, the symbolism itself is not about gender, it's about humanity. That means they just chose that symbol to represent humanity. That's why it is there. It was derived from the Linton stone. Therefore, it was transformed so that it becomes that particular symbol of humanity. But the idea was not necessarily to have gender assigned to it.
Sure.
I hope that
and it's a fair enough point, and I wonder the extent to which we are able to question even some of the things that aren't necessarily coming out of a bad place or where there's ill intent or ill motive. But now that we have an opportunity to question why, in fact, one of them is not a woman, what do you make of that? What would be at least the response of the State Herald to this contestation?
Okay, I think it's the understanding of it is where it is emanating. The coat of arms has got two epochs. There's the top and the bottom. The bottom one is about foundation, where we are coming from. It's about our history, where we are anchored. And therefore, the use of the Linton stone, because the Linton stone is an internationally acclaimed rock art that we've got in our museum in Cape Town. It is a historical thing. It also depicts the first people who occupied this land. That means what we're doing with the coat of arms is just to anchor us in South Africa as people who've got that humanity that is permeating through the ages. That particular design, they chose just one figure that they used, but it was also reworked so that it will fit with the latest design, but also not lose its historical integrity. Therefore, it was put there based on that, just to link us from the past to the present. The top part of the coat of arms is about us rising up. That is another one which is part of the vision that this country has.
Now, men and women are both part of that humanity that you speak about. So are you saying that a campaign like this, which at least is requesting that the coat of arms in its current state be re-looked, are you saying that that is not something which is possible?
I'm not fighting with your campaign, but I'm just giving you the facts so that you understand where we are coming from. Because what is very important is that the information I'm telling about is in the document. You'll find it in your internet if you even Google the speech that was made. In a lot of other publications that we've done, even in the school books, that is how it is explained. And therefore, when I started with the ambiguity in terms of symbolism, is that once you see something at face value, it's very easy to look at it in another way. But in my case, I'm trying just to draw you in to say, hey, it may look at face value as those figures. And then it's not about those figures. It's about the humanity that they will represent. Because the next step, we may have also other people say, why are these figures brown? Whilst we've got diversity in South Africa. Therefore, it becomes a lot of a problem to try to balance all the other diversity that we have within a confines of a small frame of the coat of arms. I'm not defending to say that they did whatever they did, but I'm trying to give you the historical perspective on why we came up to this point and what these figures represent.
So what would it take then to have the State Herald actually consider what is currently being put on the table and, in fact, see the process through?
Okay, from our point of view, whatever we do, we are doing it based on a mandate and on the instruction, and also, even you, on personal basis, if you want a coat of arms, you will apply to us. Therefore, we'll react into your application, and we do that. But in cases of local government, for example, before they come to us, they have discussions so that they can have some agreements on what they want to represent themselves. And therefore, they'll come to us having developed a certain draft brief that they'll give it to us. And therefore, we work on the brief. Therefore, in my case, I may not be in a better position to tell you what to do because I usually receive things and we work on it. I've got artists who will work on things. But when it's come to national symbols, I think we've been very good in this country, that we've opened it up for the general public to participate, from your anthem to your flag to the coat of arms. It was not a closed thing to say the Bureau of Heraldry will just do it, but we wanted the South African to be part of it, so that the final product is also had been open to everybody else, and also the process as well.
How far-reaching would a change be? So you're talking about all of the affected sectors. You've mentioned the education sector because you're talking about learners who are educated on the coat of arms. So if a change like this were to be implicated, how does that affect the different arms of the state?
Okay, let me just draw you through the international trends. You are in the news media, and I wonder how many times you've had a country changing a coat of arms. It's a very rare occurrence. Some countries have got a coat of arms that is dating 100 years old. They may have gone through a lot of transformation with a lot of issues. But why maybe countries tend to stall away from just changing it? Because the implications are far-reaching. I know that you may be coming with a very good intent, but also we need to be aware of what that will mean. The coat of arms is a very important government image. You find it everywhere, of course. You find it blown up big in big building. You'll find it even in a small coin. It is spread all over. Therefore, the design itself has been made to be able to survive all the enlargement to it being reduced to a smaller size. This is why it's supposed to be that good design. But what you are asking me about is just that, in my case, I'll say that let us be aware of those particular implications. Even if we are coming with good intentions, we also need to do our homework and just see how far this thing is going to affect us as a people. I know that the issues of women are very, very important. I do not want to underplay them. But as we are approaching whatever we want to do, we also need to be conscious and also do our homework and also benchmark ourselves with the world.
So do you think that seeking to have a figure of a female represented on the coat of arms, do you think that's going too far?
Not necessarily so. It's not that it's going too far. But what, in my case, where I am based, I'm trying also to give advice based on my experience and better the work that I do. And also with a little bit of a benchmarking, because I also work within the international Heraldry community. What is very important is that South Africa, I'll ask you to go and interrogate that document you've got also. If you are not satisfied with those symbolisms that you attached, also, and then you can do what you do. But the fact that I'm telling you is what is written and what was gazetted. That the representation of those figures, we always call them figures in each and every literature. But to avoid the fact that the issue of gender and others, they are more symbolic, metaphorizing the humanity coming from our history. That's what I think I can explain to you.
All right.